Yeah, I mean, I think for sure that we're the most underrated team. But right now, everyone has just stepped up so much that we actually everyone does their own job and focuses on that, and we just becomes like so much of a better team than we were before. We won't just settle with the playoffs and getting 3-0'd by Splice. That will never happen again.
But he gets knocked to one side, however, Roccat is going to be able to get the finishing blow onto Jack Troll, but Vitality turning it right back around in a 4v5 scenario. Combo shard, there's a Darius falling off, not enough damage, and the dunk is denied! Roccat still lead the charge, and that's going to be one blade search, and a second one!
I think this time we will actually go further and we will become one of the strongest teams in LCS.
Memento's eyes are set on the prize this split as I welcome you back for Roccat versus Fnatic. And we want to talk a little bit about Memento because this guy has grown a lot over the last year from a bit of a no-name jungler to now the leader of this Roccat squad that are fighting fast and furiously towards the top of the standings. The amount of growth that this guy has made is pretty astounding, but he has a pretty distinct playstyle. And I've got a couple of examples that I want to show you to kind of illustrate what he does so well. Early game skirmishing is kind of the name of the game for this man in the jungle. He often picks things like Camille and Graves that can really get down and dirty in the thick of things very early on into the game, and he often relies on support from the rest of his team like Blanc and Norscarin to help him out in these early portions of the game. This is just one early illustration that we saw during the early parts of the regular season, but I have an even better example for you in the matchup against Vitality. Once again, we see Memento look for an early gank in the middle lane, and Vitality, being Vitality, naturally look to try and answer back. This eventually evolves into a bit of a 2 versus 3 skirmish, which heavily ends up in favor of the side of Roccat. When Memento is able to find these early leads, and when he's able to find these early kills and gold advantages, Roccat do such a good job of turning that early gold lead into a win. So far, when this team gets a gold lead at 15 minutes, they are 4-0. This team is terrifying when they get an early lead, and it's all off the back of this man in the jungle. Fnatic right now look bruised, and if anyone is going to upset them, it's going to be Memento. Shox, Ender, what do you guys think?
I think you're completely right, and I think this is the perfect setup for Memento to get a crucial win. If we look at the entire split, Roccat has been doing so good. They made playoffs in spring, and they want to aim higher. And I think a win versus Fnatic here, stepping up to the plate for this momentum, would do huge things for their confidence going into the rest of the split.
Absolutely, and this is the best chance for them to do it after Fnatic's loss yesterday. They really do have the opportunity, and as Vedia said, it's all going to be through Memento in his early game playmaking.
And that's why we're looking at the side of Fnatic. Usually we wouldn't be talking about them as the underdogs, and I'm not sure they are here, but they did lose to Splice yesterday. They came back from Rift Rivals. No jet lag between them because, well, they were both jet lags, most likely. And when we looked on Twitter after the loss versus Splice, which was crushing, we saw Bwipo, the top laner, tweet out, hey, the whole draft was based around me, and I let them down, dragging the team down with me. Rather, and this is very interesting because he's been playing all these wacky things, but this is when he was really playing a top lane champion in the top lane in this meta, and the team was built around him with the Galio, so I can imagine that he felt a bit responsible for that loss.
Right, and I think partially it is his fault. He was playing the Jarvan into the Rumble in the top lane, and the comp was built to have him play aggressively and then dive onto this Rumble over and over again. There was a key point early in that game where he went for a trade right where Xerxes was there to punish him, and after that it felt more like a team-wide effort where Fnatic were still trying to put the resources into them. It was just that Splice and Xerxes particularly were always there to punish that over-aggression.
So if you look at what they have to do now, G2 just went 0-2, also came back from Rift Rivals and didn't have the best showing. So Fnatic definitely doesn't want to let that happen looking at the rest of the season. So where do they target their aggression? Do they go for a comp again that they build around Bwipo, or what would you like to see?
Ooh, I think you definitely can build around Bwipo. I think he's one of the best players we have in the league. Bot lane, top lane, he can basically do it all. It's really, you can't make those mistakes early on into the match, and you have to be able to set up vision properly beforehand, because that was what was getting them. This is a team that at Rift Rivals was the best early game team in the league. They're always looking for fights and doing everything and anything they want to. The issue is that when you fight so consistently, the other team can just show up and beat you. They have to be a little bit more thoughtful about when and where they go for those plays.
And this is why we are in part so excited for this particular matchup, because Memento is a guy that from the beginning of the game just gets in there, ganks the lanes, get the advantage for his team. And Fnatic are also no slouches when it comes to the early game, and that's what I would like to see. Both of these teams going toe-to-toe.
This is going to be such a bloody early game, I really do feel like, because if Fnatic play like how they've been playing all split, they're always going to be looking for those fights. Memento is not one to back down from a challenge. This is a guy that will just go into the enemy jungle and look for those 1v1 plays, and he's always playing aggressive champions to enable him to do that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens if Fnatic can't come out of this weekend 1-1, or if it's Roccat who pull off the monumental 2-0 week over Fnatic. We will see. Medic, over to you.
Thank you very much, Shox. And I'd also like, see, the problem is, right, I don't write the script. And it says, I'd like to welcome Martin Deficio Lunga to the caster desk.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure I'd like to welcome you here. I kind of have to. It's part of my job. So welcome,
True.
inferior analyst
Maybe
who
if you care
thought
about your
Aatrox
job.
would be permabanned and who thought Aatrox
That's fair.
anyone who played Aatrox would win.
Which was true until last game.
Oh, yes, sorry, 50%
So I was correct for most of this week until last game. That's pretty good track record.
You have a 50% win record on Aatrox at the moment.
Yeah, so Nocturne is also strong.
That's true. Nocturne is
And
also
what we learned last game, and we can also learn a little bit of from the Splice game, is there are, of course, ways you can play around it. There's just no counter pick for the Aatrox himself.
Okay.
Nuke had a great game on it.
Yep.
Obviously, there was more reasons for Schalke to win that one. Meanwhile, Perks got kills, but the rest of the team kept dying around him. This draft, however, I will still like to predict an Aatrox ban.
I think that's a safe prediction.
Is it now? Two
think-
games in a row?
I think it's safe. I'm not saying it's right.
Because here's the
It's
thing.
safe.
The reason you would leave it open is because you want to trade it for other power picks.
True.
And then you play around it and not into it. Because if you play into it and you make a mistake, you get 2 early kills, it's really hard to play the game. If you play around it, on the other hand, you can still punish the other lanes just like normal.
Well, it was a good prediction, because they've already banned the Aatrox.
There we
Alongside
go.
it, there's the Nocturne, Heimerdinger, Camille, and Talia removed by
And
Fnatic.
this is the important part. Aatrox has not won a game or been open in a game when I was casting. That's the only thing that
there we
matters,
are.
Medic.
That's the important statistic.
I don't
It
watch the other games, only when I'm casting.
is, of course, Fnatic versus Roccat, the battle for 6th place at the moment. 4th place at the moment.
I was about to say,
Yes.
a little bit higher up.
6th place was earlier
Oh,
on
and
today.
Mundo ban. That's interesting, because Mundo's one of those champs who gets left open most of the time, and then he gets picked basically every time. And he's always really, really strong. Finally, a team that actually thinks it's worth taking away. So we don't get the mega tank in the top lane. Zoe is left open, however, and there is this mid laner called Caps on the side of Fnatic. And Caps, he's very good at playing Zoe.
So unsurprisingly, yes, Cap's one of our best mid laners here in Europe, plays the best mid lane champion pretty well at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how it is. Very simple analysis. Ooh, look at this. That's not a snowball jungler.
No.
That's Sejuani. Probably for Memento. Can be flexed down to Noskaran. We saw a very useless Sejuani Zillion combo from
We did.
Kingstone's bot lane earlier today.
Didn't work out too well for them. Going to team it up, though, with the Yasuo, which implies to me it's more likely to be coming out of the jungle.
It is still a very good pick. It's just not what we normally see Memento play in order to get Roccat ahead in the early game, because of course Sejuani is a lot slower than the traditional skirmish picks. Now this is actually what happened in the draft we saw in the LCK, where Sejuani gets picked, Kindred gets picked as the answer, and then you put the Sejuani in support and you lock in a potential counter pick for the Kindred, or at least a pick that can duel the Kindred. It was a Camille over in the LCK. It is available. It's not available in this draft. I still wonder if we will get something like a Trundle with the Yasuo, which is still a combo you can go for with the Pillar. Doesn't have to get picked now, though.
You can leave it until that second phase, because usually Fnatic won't look towards banning out those junglers.
Yeah.
They get the Alistair for themselves.
And with Kindred, you don't have to go Trundle, really. Like,
Yeah.
Kindred doesn't really care about him. He just jumps away. So it might just be the Sejuani jungle, and you accept that you have a little bit of a rough jungle matchup when it comes to just dictating the pace of the game. You have insanely strong teamfight, though, if you log in as Vladimir. Like, holy moly.
Yeah, it's an incredible team fight. And then pair it up like with something like a Xayah Rakan or something from the bottom lane, give you an extra knock-up, give you the ability to control at the start of the fight. But you can't play Xayah Rakan because you've got Vladimir. You can still pick the Rakan, which is the important part, as we all know.
It's true. I mean, technically, you could put Vladimir top for profit, and you can still get your Xayah Rakan. I realized I just baited you because I pointed down to Hikyu. We just normally see the Vladimir AD carry, except for Roccat, who still likes to play it in multiple other lanes. Sorry, mainly top lane.
It's Profit's most played this split as well. You totally baited.
That's why I
had a coherent
didn't
point in
need
my
to say
head.
all the lanes. I just wanted to say top lane, which is where Profit likes to take it. And when he gets it, they play around him.
Yeah.
And they try and get him ahead. And it's actually worked okay for them.
Interesting to see Roccat going for the Rise ban here. Targeting out Bwipo a little bit. He's the only guy who's played it on this team.
But it is one of the picks teams used against Vladimir, specifically, especially down in the bottom lane. Not that I think it's too bad of a matchup at all, actually, from Vlad. He should be more than fine in it. It's just something we have seen quite a lot.
The Khan ban.
Oh my god, the ban Medic.
It's crazy.
You're out of this game.
I can play Thresh as well. I just want to say, I'm a Khan one trick, but I can play Thresh at like a Plat 2 level.
Then you're oh, I was about to say, yeah, it has to be at a lower level. Meanwhile, let's see here, because the Alistar for Hylissang, we assume, and this is not a funnel when Zoe is there on the side of Fnatic, so they kind of show already where 3 of the picks are going. Swain ban, I like. I think it's an important ban against Fnatic, because both Bwipo and Source are great Swain players down in the bottom lane. Could still set up an AD carry then, because Swain is normally one of the great answers to traditional AD carries. Yeah. And they've removed Yasuo and Vlad, who are also normally good answers in the bottom lane, to the traditional AD carry picks.
So it's going to be the Shen going to the support. I see Norscarin definitely playing this in that supporting role. Pretty good into the Alistar as well, because if he jumps in on you, you just put down the Spirit's Refuge. Can't really get that much damage down.
This is the matter, though. Everything on Rocket's side can be flexed.
Yep.
I feel like everything on Fnatic's side is locked into their specific role, mid, Zoe, jungle, Kindred.
We did see Alistar top for a very short period of time,
briefly,
like season 5.
But all these 4 picks, like you can legit still move Sejuani to support role, you can put Shen top, like there's a lot of ways you can still mix it up before the last pick. So Fnatic are not 100% sure. This should be a Gragas top lane instead of the Jarvan blind we got last time, or maybe not. Let's see what.
No, let's not talk about hovers, because I think if you talk about hovers, things like the game.
But I like it in this meta because a lot of the hovers are actually real picks.
Okay.
And then it's fun to like try and talk about it for like 20 seconds, shoot a quick prediction before you get the last pick. Because right now here we have Gragas Jace as well coming in.
Yeah, so there's a few different options. You could play the Gragas support, or it's probably going to be the Alistar support.
Alistar support,
Kindred
I think.
jungle. Gragas as bot laner?
I mean, there's Jace bot lane is also a possibility, depending on what Roccat ends up locking in. So I kind of felt like the whole thing was figured out coming into this week, but then there's some new picks showing up. That should be a Rumble top lane. Sejuani jungle, Shen support, Vladimir as the AD carry, or in the bot lane. Together with the Shen, that seems to be what Roccat is going for on their side. Alistar support, Kindred jungle, Zoe mid for Fnatic. And then it's just a question of the Gragas and the Jace here. Do you put the Jace bot lane against the Vladimir? Or do you put him top and try and shut down the Rumble?
I think Roccat expected the Gragas to be top because they picked the Rumble, which is an okay matchup into the Gragas, especially early on. You can push him in pretty easily, and if you get a good gank off, you can try and shut that Gragas.
But they already saw the Jace. They know Whippo can take a top, and then you can send Kim to top lane early. And if you get one kill on Jace, you start taking over that lane against Rumble. So there is still so many ways this game can go. We're not even into the first part of it. Like, it's actually really insane how fun this draft has been.
I want to talk a bit more macro about the compositions, though. We've talked about the individual picks. You said Fnatic have this, Roccat have this really strong team fighting composition when we came into the second phase of pick and ban. Looks like it's still like that to me. You've got the Shen for the support, you've got the equalizer there as well. But what are Fnatic looking to do with their line?
I think Fnatic, extremely long-range poke with Jace and Zoe. Like, I almost consider a bit of a pick composition without it being purely that, just because they have so many ways of catching one target. Alistar, Gragas, that's a great way to catch one guy out instantly. You have Zoe bobble into long-range poke from a Jace. Like, this Fnatic draft is one of those that gets really annoying to play against if you can't find the engage onto them. And once you get poked down, you get all in by Alistar and Gragas, and you can't prevent that fight. There's too much engage then coming in from the side of Fnatic. But I'm mainly just looking at the Jace. Whippo's playing it. I want to see exactly where it's going. I want to see if they play around it, and they can actually shut someone down with it.
It's going down towards the bottom lane. I can sense it. It's going to play down there with Hylissang, and now going to jump onto the Summoner's Rift. Fnatic versus Roccat, the battle for 4th place at the moment. And Fnatic stumbled coming back here into week 4 of the EU LCS. Lost the Splice yesterday. Will be looking to try and revitalize their form today. They've already seen G2 fall 0-2 week for G2. Fnatic will want to capitalize on that.
Now, early laning phase should be more than fine here for Fnatic. It's not like Vladimir can just purely out-trade a Jace, mainly due to the auto attacks versus cooldowns on the abilities for HQ. However, I'm looking at the all-in that can happen level 6 for Vlad, because that's where Jace is extremely squishy. And you have a Shen setting up to play with Taunt. Obviously, Hylissang's job is then to protect it. Let's see how this strategy works out for Fnatic. It is the traditional Bruiser style, But I guess we are getting slightly closer to an 80 carry for Fnatic.
Is that what's going to happen? Bit by bit, Whippos is going to play more AD carries, a little bit more. It's Jace first.
Passive was Kennen, might
Then
come in.
Kennen, then probably Lucian, because he's the one that's been played top in the past.
Yeah, maybe, but then it's... Finally, we can say it's an actual AD carry.
Also, playing Kennen when you have Reckless on your lineup
That would be pretty disgusting.
a little bit BM, but early doors, Hylissang meets up against Norskaren in the river. Both junglers going to start on the bottom side of the map. Expect action up towards that top side, because whoever gets ahead between the Rumble and the Gragas should have control of that lane.
I'm really glad that Rumble is back. Like, it had to happen with the amount of buffs he received. Just all the time, it was like, oh, he's a Q buff, he's an ulti buff. You know, like, eventually, you're just too good to not get played. Because whenever Rumble is in the game, it guarantees action.
It's true.
No one ever leaves a Rumble just alone if he starts getting hit, because you have to try and shut him down. And no one just, you know, picks Rumble and says, yeah, we don't want to fight for 30 minutes. Like, that literally never happens. So you know you're going to get some place where Prophet is going to be involved. And with the insane amount of, you know, teamfight presence and AoE damage, like, look at this. Vladimir ult, his own E's exploding on everyone, Prophet with a Rumble, even a Yasuo ult. Like, there's so much AoE damage from Roccat. Fnatic, they definitely do not want to stand grouped together when the fight starts.
If Roccat can find their perfect engage in a fight, I don't think Fnatic will have the opportunity to even react. You know, we saw Jankos yesterday on the Kindred getting caught out, not even able to put the Lamb's Respite down before he fell in a fight. Very much on Broxah to get that Lamb's Respite down, and so as to disengage the fight with his explosive cast if he can. Now Broxah did go for this Scuttle Crab after getting his blue.
See, I guaranteed you action right there.
Oh, this is such intense action.
Oh, he's gonna make a jump!
Soaz knocks him back, the Scuttle Crab in the midst of them as well. Yasuo's coming up, Prophet with the flash already, but Broxah's on the chase. Here's Blanc trying to join up and save his teammate, but Soaz just going to chase straight past him. Momento's called out, Cap, Prophet safe for now. Blanc there as well, Sleepy Trouble Bubble misses, Caps in from the side, but this is first. This is almost second blood as well. The flash away from Blanc will keep him alive.
It all started because Prophet wanted to move down and try and interrupt a Scuttler. Caps did use the picked up flash right there, don't worry. But because Prophet walks down the river, Source ends up just walking in behind him, and he suddenly is in a spot where he can't get out, even when he tries to flash away. There's some trading bottom lane. We get to see early advantage for Fnatic. It's what we mentioned with the Jace, the advantage of not just relying on cooldowns from your spells, gives them the clear edge here early over Hiku and Noskaren. So right now, Fnatic got advantage top side through a crazy fight, level 2 and level 3. And they're already pushing in the bottom side.
So much more like the Fnatic that you want to see as a fan of them. So much more like the Fnatic that can challenge for the top spot in the EU LCS.
And I made this point yesterday in post-game lobby. Talking about how with Roccat, there's a lot of positives if you look at the individual members. The only one I still have a lot of question marks around is Prophet specifically. And a lot of that is around his decision-making and where he's moving on the map. It feels very random. Often, like, no vision on his side, he just walks into the mid lane and then he gets caught on something. This specific play here, I think it was very greedy for him to move down the river without proper backup ready. And then Soaz just literally walks into him like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna kill you now. Too easy for Fnatic to pick up the first blood.
Soaz still has his flash in this top lane as well. Momento's going to try and come in for a gank. Broxah actually just backed after sitting in that bush. Memento spotted out with the barrel roll, and well, Soaz will just wait for the wave to push back into him. That's the problem as well with Rumble. You can't really freeze a wave that effectively because of the flame spitter.
Yeah, if you want to trade, you're definitely pushing at the same time. You want mid lane.
Roam from Noskaren. Taunt doesn't land. Caps pops out a little bit of damage. Looking for the paddle star connection as well, but Blanc will get to safety.
Very classic play from Noskaren. Always roaming to the mid lane. I like the setup from Blanc as well here, trying to get just the flash from Caps. They realized there was going to be no kill because there's cleanse as well on his side, but you get taunt for just the flash here. Definitely a good trade, and Hiku had already pushed out his bottom side. So this is what we get to see. He likes to do it on Pyke. He's done it on Alistar. He's doing it a lot on Shen. This is Noskaren meta.
This is one of the key members for Roccat as well, alongside Memento, but at the moment he's going to get ganked down towards this bottom side. Redemption comes out, Noskaren goes down, Flash was already used by him, of course, Flash in by Memento, trying to catch Broxah, Prophet there with the chase, Flame Spitter, and the Electro Harpoon's enough. 1-for-1 trade, but Prophet has to use his teleport.
Yeah, he needs to recall and go back here. Source will get to kill the entire wave up top lane. Memento's around here with EQ, maybe just looking for a bit of poke damage. Classic caster curse though, we just start praising Noskaren, and instantly he gets ganked and dies.
He baited Broxah into dying, that's what we'll say. Yes, he paid for it with his life, but it's a jungler for a support.
And Broxah gave his life for the teleport.
It's true.
That's how you feed your top laner.
It's definitely true. So as already 12 CS up, Hiku caught out a little bit here. The Sangre Pool comes out, but Hylissang's looking for the stun flash from the Vladimir to get himself to safety. You can see action across the map. You promised it to us, Deficio. It's already happening.
I never lie, except if it's about Aatrox.
So as Flash, not back. Blank goes to sleep, goes to bed. Good night.
I love watching Soaz play at the moment. I don't care if it's Heimerdinger, Swain, or if it's a tank in the top lane. The fact he's making plays on the map is great. What a nice move to the mid lane here. Cleanse not used on the side of Yasuo. I think he didn't really have any time to do it before he got knocked back. And that is now 2 kills that Soaz has been involved in. And 2 kills for Capson. That is Zoe, man. We just said this man on Zoe. Yep. Not very fun to play against.
He's pretty good, unsurprisingly. Let's have another look at this fight down towards the bottom side.
So that's just the gank where Kindred comes first. Memento is around, luckily here for Roccat, and Prophet's TP is available. So when they see they're chasing towards the turret, they decide to jump in. And already at this point, it's a good trade for Fnatic, because they will get at least 1-for-1, plus that big TP cooldown.
Good stuff all around from Fnatic early on. 1,000 gold in the lead at the 7-minute mark. Their early game. Looking back to its Rift Rivals form, yesterday they didn't have the best of performances versus Splice. And once again, we see Broxah playing around this mid lane. When you have caps on Zoe, you want to get him ahead. You know if you do, you're pretty much guaranteed to win.
And this is where if we look at Roccat and how they win games normally, at this point here they would have Memento on something where he could actually get fed himself and he could just force plays all over the place. That's not going to happen on the Sejuani. Mid lane again.
Yeah, Blanc caught out in the midst of it all. Hylissang was there with the flash, but Blanc gets to safety.
Well played by him getting out. Had to use the cleanse, but still. It's a 3-man gank in the mid lane. As I said before, though, it's much harder for Memento on Sejuani to actually be the most important member on the side of Roccat. And if the whole team starts falling behind, the comeback mechanics with this kind of draft is we have to try and engage into a 5-on-5 team fight where all the AoE damage needs to land. We cannot afford to make a single mistake in how we fight, because if we lose fight number 2 and we're already behind, that's probably your entire base gone.
And looking for the disengage from Fnatic if that fight does come out as well. Alistair so good at it, so as on that Gragas will be perfect with the explosive cask as well. So keep our eyes for Roccat if they decide to group up, try and force a fight, maybe around the Mountain Drake, maybe around the Rift Herald. Still got a bit of time before that spawns, of course. We are only 8 minutes in. There's still time for this game to develop. There's still time for Fnatic to make mistakes. It's not as done and dusted as it may seem. There's the Hemo Plague from Hiku, hits on Bwipo, just trying to save Norscarin, who was in the midst of the 2 Fnatic members.
Definitely say that no one called the game over just yet.
I mean, you called a game over in pick and ban, and you were wrong. So
when did I do that?
If anyone doesn't ban Aatrox and the enemy team picks it, I'm pretty sure they're going to lose.
I don't think I casted that game. Must have been Ender who said it.
You still called it. You called it
I think it was Ender.
You called it in ready check.
Is that American guy?
Which one? We've got too many of them.
It's actually true. Yeah. We're getting a lot of them. We need more British people.
I agree. Bad at football, but good at League of Legends casting.
I mean, you're top 4 in the world.
That's true, but we did lose to Belgium today, so...
Yeah, you're top 4, number 4 in the world.
Yeah, number 4. I'll take it for now.
Fun fact, Denmark played...
badly.
0-0 or 1-1 against the 2 teams in the final.
Oh, good stuff.
That shows we're actually as good as the 2 teams in the final.
I love that logic, and I love Bwipo flashing in for the knockup. Norscarin caught out as well. Another kill for Fnatic, and this bot lane is getting away from Roccat.
Oh, the Jace denying any sort of escape. Still kind of waiting for Memento to try and do something. He's top lane now. That's great. Yeah, that's what we wanted.
It's a good kill.
Good response here from Roccat, trading 1-for-1. Important they keep, even in this game here, the bot lane turret will take a lot of damage. Norscarin is on his way back to try and defend it. TP from Prophet is soon available, but I don't think he gets to join a fight on the bottom side here. So Drake will go over to Broxah, and the bot lane wave died.
So it's interesting to me because Fnatic decided they want the Mountain Drake over damage on the tower there. They pushed up the next wave, the wave died to the tower, but instead of stopping the laning phase, they said we'll take Mountain and we'll leave that tower alive.
Well, also by killing the wave, you get a really good reset. Instead of, like typically it's not worth to get a bit of poke damage on the turret if you can actually get a great recall. Return to the bot lane with the entire wave just for you to pick up. You get slightly ahead then on experience and CS, and that's obviously worth a little bit more than getting the turret down, because on the next big play, now you have items, there's a Ghost Blade on Bwipo, you probably have enough damage to kill the turret anyway, so you didn't need that extra little chip damage, and that's why they just took the wave and recalled. on their side. Broxer is checking for Memento here. And the Sejuani executed 2 ganks so far, and importantly, Prophet has picked up some of the kills. Early Oblivion Orb, so he just wants to rush straight towards Magic Pen. We do see other Rumbles rush straight for Leandries. Not in this case, he wants the Magic Penetration.
So as looking to see if he can get behind this tower, places a ward just in case Prophet's going to be up there. Caps has actually got a lot of chip damage on towards this tower in the mid lane. Memento coming in as well. Broxer and Hylissang here to join the fight if they so desire.
Yeah, this is a problem for Roccat. They've not been able to play around the mid lane, which is normally one of the big win conditions for them. Memento and Plank together is a good combination. But now it's a Yasuo falling behind. He got ganked by multiple members as well. So it's rough. And you just see the Zoe get a few hits on your turret every single time. Rocket's only way of really saving this is to collapse with Noskaran, with Memento, and try and kill Caps.
13 to 15 CS lead there for Caps in the mid lane. Those 2 kills bolstering up his scores as well. You can see he's about 1,000 gold ahead of Blank, and that's about the amount of gold that Fnatic is leading by as well. I'm very expectant of Roccat here. You've set up this thought in my mind that they're going to force a fight. That at every moment I'm like, oh, how are they going to make the next team fight? How are they going to do something? But they don't seem to be wanting to actually set up full 5v5s yet.
It's
they're more just playing
early
for skirmishes.
I mean, you're still in the laning phase.
Yeah.
So it would be crazy if you just randomly forced every 5-on-5 possible.
I mean, I've watched Vitality play.
In this case here, I think for Roccat, you have TP and Prophet. If they want to make a play on bot side, there is an option, but then you're against the Alistar, so you can't really tower dive it. And if you want to save mid lane, as I said before, that's where you have to go. Shenol, Memento gank, but Cap sits with Cleanse. So there's no easy lane other than really Zoas to try and attack, because Zoas, you know you're fighting 2v1.
You can see that's what Memento is trying to do up towards this top side of the map once again. Roccat do have the river control in terms of warding, but Fnatic have the first tower of the game, with it a 3,000 gold lead.
And you can see, Roccat, they want to control top side, but now you lose mid lane turrets. It gets really hard for you to start Rift Herald. Instead, they are looking for that fight we mentioned around the mid lane. But all of Fnatic, they are around, they're ready to take the fight.
So it comes in from the side as well, building up towards that adaptive. And Broxer jumps straight forward into Memento. We'll get locked up with the Icebreaker. There's the Equalizer as well, but it's not going to hit enough. Sleep comes out. Noskaran can't quite land the taunt up towards the top side of the fight. So as flashes from the Glacial Prism, Memento now maybe a little bit too far forward because Caps can come in and deliver a paddling. Memento flashes away, but Hylissang says, not today, my friend. A kill for Fnatic in the jungle.
Yeah, Fnatic, they knew the fight was going to happen. They were around the mid lane already, trying to bait Roccat into an engage, and it happened. They got 1 kill onto Memento. They've already killed the mid lane turret. They are currently in full control. And Rocket's teamfight comp might fall too far behind before we even get to the stage of the game where you're supposed to try and win the 5-on-5.
And that was a concern for us in Picks and Bans. The Fnatic's early game at Rift Rivals was incredibly good. Yesterday they faltered a little bit, but still consistently a strong early game team. And as we crest towards that 15-minute mark, they're about 3,500 gold ahead.
It is true. We do not get the same punch from Roccat that we have seen in some of the other games with this current draft, when it's very focused on 5-on-5 and tank in the jungle for Memento. Still, he's been able to at least get a bunch of kills for his team. Meanwhile, Hikyu down the bottom lane. Spellbinder is completed. He's actually done well in this game, and he's one of the AD carries that adapted well to the new meta. He's actually been able to play mages almost instantly, and he can still go back to traditional AD carries if needed. So he's been able to offer a lot of flexibility for Roccat, and we're looking at him as one of the main carries in this game because you cannot rely on your Yasuo. He's behind, he's lost his lane. It's going to be such a long time before he's on 2 items. So Vladimir and Rumble, the heavy magic damage AoE, that's what we're looking at.
Memento jumps the wall with the Blast and they're looking down towards this bottom lane, as you say. Hylissang spots out Memento with the ward. They're still going to wait around. Whippo, flash, taunt. There's the Tides of Blood from Hikyu as well. Whippo ignited, flashes away. Teleport coming in from Prophet to try and join this fight. Noskaran just tanking up the tower, but Hylissang can pop the Unbreakable Will. Whippo caught out with the Equalizer. Prophet still on the chase. Electro Harpoon will be enough to burn through Whippo. That's one. Now Hylissang under the tower. Hikyu can tank this one up if he wants. Hylissang doesn't have the ultimate anymore, doesn't have those increased resistances, and eventually will fall. Great play by Roccat towards the bottom lane.
Yeah, they will get the turret as well. They went all in for this one. We talked about how there was a chance to go down bot lane. It would be hard because of Alistar under the turret, but Whippo, he had to run away from it, so Prophet managed to catch him and kill him. Eventually, they will get the turret as well. They're trading it, however, for top and probably mid lane.
Look at the level advantage for Broxer as well. He's level 11, Memento's only level 9. Same for Caps over Blanc, who only just ticked over to level 10. So although Fnatic have been trading towers across the map, they are miles ahead in terms of experience.
Yeah, and while Roccat ends up losing 2 turrets, I think still that was one of the few plays you had available.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you lose 2 big objectives, but you got a bunch of kills on the main carries we just talked about, the Rumble and the Vladimir. That's sometimes the thing that happened. If you are behind, if they're down 3k gold before this play even happens, they know the top lane turret is taking a bunch of damage before Prophet is even there. You have to sacrifice something. There was 2 turrets on the other side of the map just to get kills in a bot lane turret. I can't blame them for this. They needed some kills on the carries, and they got it eventually. Just took a long time. Prophet's TP comes in, he has to flash forward as well, and then Hylissang, of course, as an Alistar, just dancing around, buying time.
Yeah, you can tank for quite a long time as an Alistar, but as soon as that ultimate wears off, EQ can just get him underneath that tower. Pretty easy kill for them. Roccat did pick up the Rift Herald while that was going on and got an Inferno Drake while we were watching that replay. So a 4,000 gold lead, a Rift Herald as well. They want to break open the base.
The next objective for Roccat should be the top lane tier 1. Same kind of play they just pulled in the bottom lane. They can try and pull up here. Sadly, Prophet will not be able to TP in and join them. And that's kind of the spot we mentioned with this comp where if you fall behind early game, because so much of what you're doing is focused around big AoE engages, the enemy team might never give you a chance. They might just be splitting up across multiple lanes, force you to dance around and catch them like they're doing here.
There goes another fight. Teleport coming in from Hiku with the flank. Memento there. Hylissang looking to see if he can knock someone out of it, but Bwipo realizes he's not in the best of spots. Roccat equalize the scoreline at 5-5.
Another TP used here, but they do pick up a kill. Slow down things for Fnatic. Top lane was not in a position to challenge the tier 2 turret yet. Roccat will have time to go back and grab it. But need to be careful because Brox and Caps can go top lane here. So if you move in as a single member of Roccat, you might actually get caught out and die. You can see here on the minimap how Fnatic control top lane. Hiku is the only member for now. He's a Rift Herald. He needs help.
Brox can get himself another stack off these Krugs as well. That will be 7 stacks on the Kindred already. A very strong point in terms of attack speed and that extra range that he gets. Rift Herald comes in for that top lane tower. So as gets a little bit of damage onto Hiku, who will eventually forego any ability to defend at this tower, you have to fear.
The Rift Herald enough to take it down. Fnatic once again trading a kill for another objective. 5k gold lead on their side, and this is what we mentioned with them just splitting up the map. There is no reason for them to group already. There's no Baron alive. The Baron itself might actually be the comeback play for Roccat.
Yeah.
Enemy team grouped around a big objective. They're putting all the focus on trying to kill it. All your engages comes in, all your AoE damage. So until that happens, Fnatic can't feel fully safe.
Yeah, I mean, they're sitting at 1.5 items on all of their carries as well. Prophet's already got the Morello Normicon building up towards that Leandries that you mentioned. Rabadon's Deathcap on its way for Hiku. Phantom Dancer completed for Blank. So if they do find the perfect avenue of engage, maybe they can win a fight. But Fnatic at the moment are just that little bit ahead. And they have been able to sort of wrench this game out of Rockat's hands.
It's important also to highlight that I feel like Rockat's comp definitely outscales the Fnatic one.
Okay.
It requires them to hold on, obviously, for now, because you're already down to your inhib turrets. They've actually lost the first 20 minutes so hard in mid and top that they've lost all the outer turrets because of it. But if you look at it, like with Vladimir, with Yasuo and Sejuani, like that late game teamfight is so insane where a Jace definitely falls off.
The question is if you can actually get there, though, because we talk about the poke in picks and bans. Caps now so far ahead.
Probably not.
Yeah, he's just going to chuck a Paddle Star across this wall. Watch this as it hits Norscarin. That's one of your tanks. There's half his health already gone. Tower will fall as well, and Roccat only have their inhibitor towers and their Nexus towers left.
This is why most teams do not care about late game scaling. It's not necessary. There are so many ways for you to snowball. You can win the game at 25-30 minutes, and that's exactly what Fnatic wants to do. All outer turrets gone. Next objective. Baron is alive. No Drake for a couple of minutes. If you don't want to go for Baron, you can still play the 1-3-1 setup and actually start dealing damage to inhib turrets. If Bwipo is ever left alone, he's going to take it in no time. Roccat knows, though, they need to actually find a team fight. They can't 1v1 their way back in this game.
Trying to do it by forcing Fnatic to react around that Baron. They clear out all the vision they can. They get some deep wards in as well. So kudos to Roccat for being able to find that vision control.
Yeah, but now they're all laning for top lane turret, which is fine to grab. They just need to be aware that it will be losing the mid lane control. So they have to always respect that when they're trying to run back to the mid lane. Will the enemy team be in our jungle now? Are they collapsing on us? Fnatic in this case, no, because they value getting Baron control.
exactly what they're going to do. Clear out those control wards. Roxa,
Yeah,
a
little
bit of
thing.
damage.
Careful if you Q into the Baron wave, into the Baron to try and kill the ward. You will actually proc the Baron. It'll start hitting you in the face.
I mean, it's a little bit rude, but you have chucked an arrow at its face, so...
I mean, yeah, you would probably also attack someone if they shot you with an arrow.
I think if you shot me with an arrow, I'd probably hit you.
You and Baron equally same size?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might be a little bit shorter than me. But anyway, Fnatic in a very strong position at the moment. 5,000 gold ahead. Second completed item on Caps as well. Banshee's Veil is where he has gone second, trying to stop some of the damage coming out from the Rumble and from the Vladimir in these fights.
That, and I think mainly the ulti from Memento, which is the engage. But obviously the thing about Sejuani when she's the main engage is it is a skill shot. It is a very predictable skill shot as well. Typically, you actually really love to have another engage tool next to her, so that you have two people flying in at the same time. But just a Sejuani, Banshees in this case, dashes, you can just juke out of it, and then Roccat do not get the fight.
Lunk has to flash away, actually E forward towards Hylissang there, and Hylissang was waiting in the wings, very quick on the trigger.
And we get to see Fnatic, they are just playing the lanes, still pushing Roccat all the way back to the base. Prophet might get caught out by Soaz.
That is okay.
Oh.
Can Soaz win that trade? Because Prophet's one of the few members that's actually ahead. You can see Fnatic are going to teleport in here, no vision control from Roccat at all. However, Fnatic realize that the long-range totem comes out, spots them, and will back away from the Baron.
Still slow and steady for Fnatic here. They've not been chasing kills this game. It's been all about playing for turrets. Trading whenever Roccat went to one lane, they killed the turret on the other side of the map. Remember the long-range poke with Zoe and the Jace. Hylissang is around as well. No flash on that Yasuo. It was used last time. He's a fairly easy target to kill right now. Another Infernal Drake. Why not?
Add another one to your pool, gives you all that extra damage, makes your poke even more effective, and they have the mountain as well, so if they want to take down those inhibitor towers, they will shred through them pretty quick.
Yeah, I really feel like that Baron is the way back for Roccat in this game here. And of course, it's the way to close out the game for Fnatic. If Roccat can find a teamfight around it and actually use people standing close to each other within a Baron pit, there's always a way for them to win a fight, even if they're down 5k gold.
It feels like the pressure is on Roccat to force Fnatic for the Baron, though, because Fnatic seem happy just to 1-3-1 at the moment, push up the waves, get a bit of chip damage on the tower, and eventually you'll take down one of those inhibitor towers.
That's the thing, Fnatic have no reason to gamble around Baron. If they feel like there's a chance Roccat can engage on them, they just step away from it, and they just go back to pushing in the lanes and take all the jungle camps. Eventually you do get a full item lead with all the additional gold you're getting, and then you can just 2-man Baron, or 3-man the Baron.
That's what they'll be looking to do, is littered with wards at the moment. It's up like a Christmas tree down towards this Baron for Fnatic. Sadly for Roccat, they only have that single control ward just in the back of the pit that Fnatic are now going to clear out.
We'll kill it. Meanwhile, as we can see here, the backside of the jungle for Roccat is still currently dark for Fnatic, so they don't have full control of it. They know exactly though where the Yasuo is, and bot lane Hiku was actually trying to set up a play. If you pan the camera down, they were hoping that Soaz would walk in and show himself early, so Hiku and Prophet could jump him and kill him, and then go to Baron right after. But Soaz played it very safe.
Something we used to see G2 do quite a lot of the time, though. Blank already down to about a third of his HP. You can see Caps a little bit out of position. There's the equalizer Hemo Plague as well. They're trying to catch out Caps, and they have done exactly that. One down. Here comes the rest of the fight. Teleport in from Soaz towards the backline. Norscarin doesn't quite land the taunt, but Prophet does still have some damage. Remember, no ultimates for the Rumble or the Vladimir now, and because of that, Memento falls.
So it wasn't around the Baron, but it was Roccat looking for a fight here. Sadly for them, after they get the first kill, they've used so many of their ultis to kill Caps, and ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. And now, they're not ready to stop the Baron. They all stepped away after the fight, said, yeah, job's done, we get 1-for-1, we get a bit more time, but no, Fnatic rushed straight to Baron.
Well, Memento is the one that fell as well, so no smite here for Roccat. Norscarin maybe
they just give it up,
looking to steal it away, but as you say, probably just given this one up. He taunts away across towards the Krugs, and Batman at 25 minutes goes to Fnatic, and perhaps that's the death knell for Roccat.
That was a little bit unnecessary. They all reset after the fight. Let's get the replay though. Caps is stuck in the mid lane. He gets collapsed on by multiple members and ends up getting 2 ultis in his face. And then he dies. And now let's see, can Roccat continue chasing? The problem is Yasuo is back in base because he got poked out by Zoe before this, so it was a 4v4 team fight. That's where they get straight. And now look how Roccat, everyone ran away. They're just like, yeah, job is done. We do not need to do more here. And that's when Fnatic make the call. Hey, they're stepping away from it. Start it. We have the vision control. We can always just back off from the Baron. That's how they end up getting it. So we did not get the big 5-on-5 AoE team fight around the Baron pit that Roccat were hoping for.
And Roccat just haven't been in control of this game from early on. So as Flash is away here from Memento and Prophet down towards the bottom side, Roccat trying to make a desperation play, because with this they sacrifice any pressure on the top side of the map as Bwipo pushes in towards that tower.
Can still, if they recall here, Source TP is on cooldown. They have a chance to force a team fight. This turret will die very quickly. The recalls are coming in now. It's a little bit late for them. Once they're here, they have to just go instant if they want to get a man advantage.
Have to force the fight. Looking at Norscarin, the guy has so often stepped up for them, but as you say, they cannot force the fight they need. Perhaps with it, they cede control of the 4th spot in the league as well. Fnatic looking to continue, well, part of their dominance in the EU LCS, looking to come back on the road towards that top spot. This win will be a good start for them. Caps jumps forward, Inhibitor tower their next target, flanked from Hiku with the teleport coming in. There's the engagement already. Blanc is dead. Equalizer, that is not where you wanted that all at the back. Broxer gets Memento. Norscarin now in the midst of it all. He pops the gold and Hiku comes in with a Hemo play. Can he be the savior the Roccat need today? No, he cannot. And this is a clean ace for Fnatic, and it's gonna be the game.
Yeah, Fnatic got the perfect team fight for them, and Roccat missed absolutely everything in that all-in, and then you lose everything.
Yeah, Fnatic going to be able to close out the game. 27 minutes and a resounding victory for Fnatic as they go 5-3 in the EU LCS.
Great comeback game for them, full control. Won the early game. It was not as hectic as the game yesterday against Splice, where Fnatic were constantly forcing, constantly fighting. This was trade objectives for kills, very, very often. But then the big thing here, and this is, again, the thing about Roccat, and why they're so inconsistent. They stepped away from early skirmish draft to full-on team fight, scaling, strong wombo combo engages, Memento on a tank. It's not a playstyle that has suited Roccat in the past. And we get to see, one, Memento does not have the same impact, and two, the coordination when the actual engage happened was very off.
Oh, it was all over the place.
The first fight they take where they trade 1-for-1, Yasuo is in base. Taking the fight was fine, but then you can't run away from Baron right after. And then the second one here, Hiku is not even close after his TP. Suddenly, Blank jumps in. He dies instantly. Rumble ulti comes down after he dies behind Fnatic. Like, legit, everything around the 3 carries was completely out of sync.
Yep. It just did not seem to coordinate at all, really, for Roccat that game. But the good thing for Roccat is that they have been able to take some wins off some teams this split already. So they're sitting in that sort of middle of the pack. If they can continue this sort of inconsistent form, they'll still be going to playoffs.
Roccat in 2018 has been the most middle of the pack team possible.
Yes.
They end up getting probably 8 wins, or 9 wins, 9 losses, something like that. They end up always looking good in some games and then dropping the ball in some other ones, and that is a classic middle of the pack. They are looking like one of the teams who's favorites to be a top 6, but behind them we have Schalke, there is Splice, like there's a lot of teams winning games. We have to be careful.
All right, let's have another look at that final fighter. It's just everything's all over the place.
So they end up going in with the engage before Vladimir's here, and Prophet couldn't instantly ult because he was asleep, but when he then ults, it's behind Fnatic. So as we highlighted, straight up everything around the carries was out of sync or missed. Hiku not there because he's TPing in, so they go in too early. Blank just instantly dies because he's the only one going in, and Prophet, when he finally could ult, didn't hit anyone.
Yeah, it was just all over the place. But good stuff from Fnatic all round. They're able to close out another game after losing to Splice yesterday. I think some people would have been worried they'd do a G2 and go 0-2 on the week.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing we talked about in Reddit check was like, you do not need to worry about Fnatic until they lose to Splice, get stomped by Roccat. You know, that's when you start being like, ooh, okay, what's happening? But this was a game in their control.
Yep, like a little speed bump. As always, we have your player of the game. We've limited it. Those are some words. We've limited your options.
Did you say Whippo?
Yeah, I said Whippo. Whippo. We've limited it to Caps, Whippo, and Broxer, so make sure you jump onto @LolEsports on Twitter to have a look at that. Who would you go for? Because this game feels like no one really totally carried the team on Fnatic. It was kind of coordinated all
Team
around.
effort.
Yeah.
Probably looking at Broxa. I think he had a very solid game.
Yeah.
Good early impact and good team fights.
Good stuff on the Kindred. Starting last night, though, Darkstar's Cho'Gath is now on sale. It was created as a wish from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and 100% of all of the proceeds from Darkstar Cho'Gath content will be donated via our partner, Global Giving, to regionally based charities around the globe. Be sure to check out more information at leagueoflegends.com on the internet. It's an incredible skin.
We need to start one-tricking Cho'Gath.
You can't play Cho'Gath support, though.
You definitely can. He has a knock-up, he has a silence.
Okay, show me.
You can kill steal.
You can kill
Legit the best support.
Okay, I mean, that's why I play Pyke, though.
Yeah, but he's
easier to kill steal.
He's better Pyke.
Because it shows... Oh, no, Cho'Gath now has the indicator when you can...
Ah, right. Only thing is your
someone,
E is kind of useless. But...
Maybe if I want to steal some farm.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
I guess.
Our next game is Vitality versus Misfits with Bwipo joining us at the analyst desk for picks and bans. Before we go to the break, though, let's see what Yamato Cannon had to say to Law earlier.
Thank you very much, guys. Law here backstage this time with Yamato Cannon. You're gonna go onto your second game of the week. How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling fantastic. I think we are in good shape, and I think it's gonna be a good day.
Awesome. So you guys are performing so well recently, even though Jizuke hasn't been in his best shape. How did you come up with a new plan around that?
I think right now the meta is something that evolves very, very fast, and I think this is something that Jizuke wasn't really used to. Last split he played a lot with Zoe, Azir, and he mastered also the Rise. He mastered these. He was playing this at the highest level, and right now things change very, very fast. It's all about just preparing the right champions, and I think we're in the right place right now.
Is it hard for you to comfort him in a way, because he was in this big carry spot and now it's less than that?
I think in our case, it's more about spreading out the responsibility. I think as a team, we weren't really gunning for this idea that Jizuke would carry every game. It happened frequently in Spring Split because he was popping off, but it's a team game after all. And Jizuke, I haven't lost any trust in him at all, and he knows that for sure.
That's perfect and good to know. Now, more about the game. You said that the meta is evolving pretty quickly, even though we have a glimpse and, well, a way that it's being settled at the moment. You had your thoughts about funneling. How useful do you think this is?
I think funneling was something that caught a lot of people off guard. I think it was very powerful because people weren't aware of it, and it was something that people had to think about a lot. But I think we've reached a point where you can predict it and you can see it coming and you can play around it. And I don't want to reveal too much because we're facing G2 next week, and this is the last patch where they can pull up the funneling, so maybe they top it off with a funnel.
Let's keep some mystery here. Now, more about the game you're going to have today facing Misfits in the last game of the day. Basically, why will you win against Misfits? What are your strengths coming here?
I think Misfits is a good team. They play very calculated, but I think they aren't willing to take necessary risks to beat the best. And I think as a team, we are willing to take those risks. As long as we play with as little mistakes as possible, I think we can deliver a great game and also take it home today.
Well, we'll see about that later, and good luck, obviously, on this one. And we're going to take a short break right after. We'll come back with the last game of the day, Vitality versus Misfits. Don't go anywhere.
Momentum's called out, Cap off it, safe for now. Blanc there as well, Sleepy Trouble Bubble misses, Cap's in from the side, but this is first. This is almost second blood as well. So as Splash, not bad, Blanc goes to sleep, goes to bed. Broxa gets Memento, Norscarer now in the midst of it all. He pops the gold and Hiku comes in with a Hemo play. Can he be the savior the Roccat need today? No, he cannot. And this is a clean ace for Fnatic, and it's gonna be the game. 27 minutes and a resounding victory for Fnatic as they go 5-3 in the EU LCS.